Hello everyone, I'm Havoc and this is Factorio Space Exploration Plus. I am starting today's episode down here by our copper plates output because you're going to see there's a lot more traffic over here now. So there will be trains coming in and out constantly. And that is because if we take a look over here at our green circuit build, we have all of our copper being delivered over here. I only have single trains currently at the moment going to each of these drop-offs, so I don't have a mass surplus, and I definitely can't run this wide open at full speed because I'll need at least 2 trains so they can be unloading, and this one can be unloading while the other one's either loading and on its way back or vice versa. So we keep the flow moving. But I have it here and I have it going. So what I've been looking at and thinking about here is the fact that I'm not going to take all of these and then just load them into trains. What I'm going to do instead is take these that I will need to make into red circuits and also blue circuits and make it locally here. This is going to end up being more than just our green circuit build. We're going to kind of turn this entire area into just our circuit build, and that's going to work out really well because what I did here is I made this stacker much larger than I needed. Really, I mean, I'm going to have 2 trains, so 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and this is a 16 stacker, and I can expand it with probably another 6, get it to 24, or excuse me, 22. Which means I can bring a lot of resources in on this side and just keep this going, unloading right up here with no real issues, and then export those products to this area just north of our green circuit build. And what that allows me is to say, hey, what do I really need on top of the green circuits to make red circuits? And if we look, let's try not to get hit by any trains. That wouldn't be a good experience for anyone involved. And we're going to look right over here at our reds. And it's really simple. You need a bunch of greens. You need even more copper. And then you need plastic. So we just need to bring in more copper, another copper train, potentially. We'll see how much exactly in just a moment. And then plastic. Now, if I take and see how much this build actually uses, you'll see you're not going to get the 48 greens per second because a belt only does 45 per second. So this build is not necessarily the best. We may need to figure out a better way to do it. But then again, at the same time, it could just be something that we tile, right? So each one of these, we'll just say it will consume at max a blue belt's worth of greens, and then it'll give us something. Let's see, let's do the math here. We're not going to be getting the 48, we're actually going to be getting 45 of the 48 that it says it needs, which means we're only going to get 93.75% of what it outputs. So we're going to take that and put times 29.760, and what that means is that we're actually only going to get 27.9, well, just 28 roughly, just under 28 reds. Now 28 reds, if you do that times 2, you get way more than 45. So essentially this times 2 will give us more than a blue belt of reds out. And that's what I want to look at, is if we're only going to get, let's see, if I wanted to get a blue belt's worth of reds out of this, I need like 1.5 this build, roughly. Because this is about 30 and you need 45. So just rough math without using the calculator, that's about half, 1.5 of one of these builds. But the thing is, it'll take 1.5 of a blue belt's worth of greens and plastic and copper in order to get that full blue belt's worth of reds out, and that's because of my production modules that are in there. Now I can look at maybe eliminating, because I have 1 speed module in each of these, And that was so that I could get it down to the point where I was able to keep this running with just blue belts worth of these products coming in. But what I'm thinking here is that maybe we do a slight redesign, have full production modules in, and just do an extra battery of these machines down there. And then we'll have to figure out exactly how we're going to feed that, because we may have to do something different than a split belt either side for the greens and plastic. Maybe we do a dedicated greens, dedicated plastic. The only issue that we're going to run into is just the vast amounts of these copper cables that are required, right? So you'll notice here that it's taking 96 per second of the copper cable, and obviously we're producing almost 120 per second, or we can produce, which means we're producing more than enough inside the build. And the only issue here is that this is a little bit more than 2 blue belts worth of copper cables. 45 and 45 together are 90, and 96 means you need just a little bit more. So you can't necessarily try and do the cables outside the build and bring them in. You will be just shy. Building them as needed for each little compartment here of our little build is how I'm actually getting away with needing more than 2 full blue belts, because technically I have one full blue belt, 1, 2, 3, and then I have 4 when I need just over 2, and that's why we have that excess and we can do that. So that's why I'm not sure. I spent a lot of time on this build, so I just need to figure out how many of these do I need in order to get to that full blue belts out. And so far it's looking like 1.5. If we swap it around, I did a lot of work on this, so I'm a little concerned about if I swap out the speeds for an extra productivity, what that effect is going to be. Also, I really need to be using more productivity 4 modules. Let's look at that real fast and just see what am I lacking for this. So really, vulcanite block and machine learning data. Machine learning data I can be making in space. We need to get pushed towards using these, and I have the capability of making them. We need to start making them. So I'm going to look at exactly what all I'll need for this in space, just to get specifically this. This can be made planet side, right? So we could make the productivity module 4s here. The issue is, let's see, the only thing, I think machine learning data has to be made in space. Let's see. Yes, these are absolutely made in supercomputers. We just need green circuits, blank data cards. Blank data cards, okay, so that takes reds, coppers, and the polished substrate. So it's a little bit of a thing. We can make this planet side. Again, rough data substrate can be made planet side and sent into space. So it looks like I've got a few good candidates for my first few rockets that are going to go into space here. I've already got the copper and iron. I need to get glass, and then I need to get red circuits, advanced circuits up there, and green circuits. Greens, reds, and glass are what I'm going to need. And then let's see, this is going to polish them. It's either going to take cosmic water and give me back contaminated cosmic water, or what I've been doing is just consuming chemical gel with no return of scrap or contaminated water. I think I'm probably going to keep doing that, so we also need to look at what we need for chemical gel up there. Petroleum gas, cosmic water. Cosmic water is just water and lubricant. Okay, so we have quite a few things that I know that we're going to need to be automatically sending into space and just stockpiling outright right now, because I want to get the productivity module 4s easily. And we'll also need some of those machine learnings for speed module 4s, which we should really start using as well. And for this we need iridium plate. So it goes back to I want to scale up planet side, but then at the same time, to do a better job of scaling up planet side and to make better builds, I need to build some infrastructure in space. So let's look at this right here. I know that I'm going to need glass as the next resource, so we will fly over, snag a little bit from somewhere pretty local. I know I've got glass on this line right here. We're just gonna snag a little bit here. It was what? Glass, greens, and red circuits. So we will say green circuits, red circuits. And see, the beauty of what I'm doing over there now is I can set up a train loading for green circuits and then bring it over here. I already have trains that transport glass, so that one's fairly easy. So let's think logically. We're going to have iron, copper, stone, steel, the glass, then yeah, I guess we could just go with green circuits here. Where are they at? Lose my mind. Greens, reds, and then probably going to put blue circuits next to that. So I will leave a spot for it. And then we can do maybe fluids. I don't know if I necessarily have an order that I prefer one over the other. I mean, honestly, it doesn't really bother me. So I will say let's get barrels of the different fluids right here. This one will be water. This one will be lubricant, and this one will be petroleum gas. Each of those I need through the different steps to make chemical gel. And then we're going to need a serious setup in space for recycling all the barrels that we will be dumping into there here shortly. So let's look at where we can best do this. In fact, if I just go ahead, I've got a bunch of train stuff on me right now. I can simply build the trains right here. I won't need the blues just yet, so we'll leave that one empty. I was standing in the way. I was about to say, that's weird. It's out of place. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we're going to have to build where these trains get loaded at, because right now I don't have any loading areas for these different, well, the glass, like I said, I already have the glass taken care of. It's the other ones that I don't necessarily have just yet. So let's look at glass. I want you to go to glass pickup until you're full cargo, and then you're going to need this to be named. Let's see. What convention am I using for this? Iron space drop off. Okay, so this is going to be glass space drop off. At some point in time, I'm going to have to look back through here because I'm pretty sure I'm using more than one naming convention, and it's going to eventually cause issues for me. But for now, we will go with that. So you're going to look for glass space drop off until empty cargo inventory. Perfect. Let's go get you loaded up. I'm glad that I was not standing on the tracks just then. I have almost had a mishap every now and then. And I have jetpack, so I can just be hovering and then you don't get hit by trains. But I prefer to be static and sitting on the ground so I'm not drifting. And sometimes I forget that I'm on the ground and I'm in a train's path. And terrible things happen. Alright. So those can get loaded. Oh, I don't have fuel. Interesting. We're going to grab this little bit because these sections don't have the requester chest bringing fuel to them for some reason. I think I added that in after I built all this, which is why. But we'll just blueprint that right over and get it set up. Now, glass is on its way. Right, it's going to go get loaded and it's going to come back. We need green circuits and we need red circuits somewhere to load these up. This is going to have to be temporary because I'm not really ready to set up where over here that this is going to be done. So we're going to look locally right around here for loading these two trains. In fact, I think I'm just going to kind of rig it right over here. This is really bad, but we will do a tiny train loading setup just for these greens and reds for now, because we are in the process of working on the green and red setup. So it won't be a permanent thing. But we'll do, let's see, probably like a mini stacker. And let's see, I have a good blueprint. This little thing. That's not going to work for what I want to do over here, though. Yep. That's okay. So that's one part of the stacker. And then this is the other one, because we're just going to have the two trains right here. In fact, I don't really need a stacker. This is going to be really, really rigged here, and like I promise, this is super temporary. And then watch, somebody's going to comment when I'm 16 episodes later from now, I'm like, what happened to being temporary? My intention is for this to be temporary. And let's see. We'll do a chain signal going into each of these. And then we're just going to, I hope this is enough room. I didn't even math this out or anything to make sure that they would fit. Yes, they fit just fine, which is perfect. Just do it like this. I'm sloppy. I've got to turn, I know I said it before, but I've got to turn the DPI down on my mouse. I have turned down the mouse sensitivity in a couple of other games because I notice it gets kind of jittery. This one, you don't look around with your mouse in Factorio, so it's less noticeable being jittery. I just misclick with a lot. Whereas other times, it's a big deal. Let's see. Actually, I don't like this at all, to be honest with you. I think what I'm going to do is put down, to make it simple and easily balanced. Where are my warehouses? This will take up a lot more space, but I can just drop a loader going into this. Is that going? No, that's coming out. I think you have to have a belt nearby first. And then it will say, hey, I know that I need to go in. And we're going to put down a couple of substations just to give it some power. Now, all you got to do is balance this out. And now I know I'm not producing enough I'm going to be coming from one belt and then splitting into 4 to fill this train. So it's not necessarily the best, but again, just temporary. I just want to get this running. We're going to come probably underground right here. See if I can just sneak right underneath all of these things so I don't have to redo any builds. Perfect, and that gets my greens over here, gets them loaded. Now I just want to extend this out a touch and then loop back around. Let's come back this way. Try and make it somewhat decent. Oh, just missed. What a shame. It's alright. We'll come back like so. There, and they can just loop right back around. Whoops. Oh, I always do that. Okay. Now I need to do the same thing for the reds. Do I have enough room to do that right here? I do. Good. I'm glad I just magically happened to put this much distance between them, which works out perfectly. I mean, I planned that totally. I'm that forward thinking. And I want to snag reds from probably right along in here. Oh, that'll be a problem. Let's see. Underground belt right beside it. I'm a master of the messy factory. Oh. Yeah, that's not going to work. Wasn't even paying attention to the belt of the electric motors there. Okay. Let's dump them. I don't need them all in my inventory. We'll dump them into there. Yeah, and that just turns it. Okay, so that will get this loaded with greens and reds. And now all we got to do is put temp green circuit loading. And copy that over and change this to red. Okay, perfect. Now we can tell our trains where to go, and they'll have a really short loop for right now, which is perfectly fine. So, where are my greens and reds? Temp green circuit loading until full cargo, and then we're going to say, I haven't named this, have I? No, I have not. So this is going to be green circuit space drop off. You will be coming back to green circuit space drop off until you have empty cargo. Now we do the red circuits. Let's name this one. We'll just again copy this over and change it to red. Alright, so we're looking for temp red circuit loading, full cargo, and then red circuit space drop off, empty cargo. We've got it. That will give us our greens, reds. Okay, hold on. What's going on with the glass? Right here's glass loading. Oh, it's all in here. Yeah, okay. That makes sense. It's been coming. It's just that so much fits in the rocket silo. Okay. Alrighty. That's good. Good to know. So, oh, and you know what? I didn't set these up with our circuitry to keep them from filling when they're not supposed to. Let's just paste that right over all of these. That way it makes sure, hey, there's a rocket in there before I start trying to fill it up with resources. Okay. Let's see here. We are going to need, we're going to skip over blues. So I'm going to, I don't have any blue circuits on me, do I? trying to think of how to mark this. I need to keep something here. Put something blue in the chest, and I'll know that's definitely not what needs to go there. Now we need barreled water and the such. Those are going to be a little bit different here because they're kind of all over the place at this point. I might just for now have some bots request those. In fact, I know that's what I'm going to do because I don't have a good build for any of those yet. So we're going to simply tell my robots to deliver those 3 items right over here. In fact, actually, I can do something that's going to be even faster and utilize our loaders and just demand a lot from the requester chest. So let's see, like so. This will hold what, 480, so I want 480 barrels of water barrels, 480. And then we needed what, lubricant, and after that the petroleum gas. We'll do lubricant, 480, and actually real fast I need to do the circuits. I'm getting ahead of myself again. Okay, there we go. Go ahead and copy those over. So that's bringing the lubricant, and then you need petroleum gas, and I'll just have the bots bring these for now. I don't have, and it may be a little bit of time before I get to making the dedicated builds for these for train loading and logistics over here, so that's fine. We'll get them brought over by bots, and see, it'll pull out as quickly as these things load, really, which is perfect. Now I've got a significant amount of work to do in space to receive each of these items, and these two, the greens and reds, are probably going to move really slow. Let's see down here. Oh yeah, and what I need to do for these warehouses is really restrict them down to about a train's inventory's worth, which is exactly that much, 4 rows. So let's make sure that I only have that much, because if these things, this would be a severe amount of red and green circuits piling up over here in these warehouses. I sure am glad that I caught that before I have thousands of them just piled up for no good reason there. But that's probably going to be it for today's episode. I've got some work to do getting things situated, especially receiving, like I said, receiving these items space side and then dealing with them. I'm going to work on some of that. If you enjoyed today's episode, feel free to hit that like button. I really do appreciate that, and it helps me out greatly. If you have any comments, any suggestions, anything that you want to go down there and type out, I really do appreciate that too. It definitely helps me and motivates me. It feels good when you guys are enjoying it and you're letting me know. So if you're enjoying this content and you want to see it on the regular and you're not already subscribed, consider subscribing to my channel, and I will see you all next time.